What's good, YouTube? My name is Leah, and this is going to be one of many videos on this page for all things PA. So basically, my goal with this channel is to expose those interested in the PA field or interested in getting into PA school to more content, more resources, and kind of just like adding to the resource pool that's already abundant on YouTube. But, just from a different perspective, because everyone has different perspectives, and especially for people who look like me, other minority students, but all races and colors and shapes are welcome to this channel, of course. So again, my name is Leah, and I'm currently a PA student. I am a PA S1. Some of you may know what that means. For some of you, that means absolutely nothing, but it just means that I'm a PA student in my very first year. I've been wanting to make a YouTube channel for a while now. It's definitely been on my bucket list, but I really haven't had a chance to, haven't found the time. But right now I'm actually between modules, and after this weekend I start a new one. And I figured, what better chance than now, when I'm in my second to last semester of PA school, at least the didactic year, to kind of jump on the wave and do something that I've been wanting to do for a while. So what really encouraged me was watching other YouTubers. Some that come to mind are down at the PA, the Urban Nurse actually, and other fun channels like the PA Bay. Just a few to throw out there. I would recommend watching those people as well. They're pretty awesome, and they definitely gave me some good tips prior to interviews and things like that. I know it can be kind of hard trying to figure out what you want to do and what to do and the right thing to do when you're pursuing PA school, and even when you're in PA school. It can be very difficult, especially when you don't really have people around you that can kind of show you the way or to relate to. I mean, college advisors and things like that are one resource, but it's kind of different when you don't really have anyone walking the path with you and you're kind of walking it by yourself. Me personally, no one in my family has gone to grad school, so that's been a feat in itself. Not to say anyone hasn't gone to college, but grad school carries its own rigors that are a little bit different than undergrad. So figuring that out and also adding medicine into it and trying to explain to people exactly what it is and why I'm not around all the time and why I can't be around. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but even more so before you even get into it, figuring out interview dates and what to say and how to say it and what to wear and down to just your walk and your cadence, like what you should do. So basically that's why I'm developing this channel, just to kind of give another perspective, kind of give you guys maybe a raw, more unfiltered look into things, look into classes. I might even consider doing a day in the life, just so you guys can see what a normal schedule is like for a PA student, and how my day doesn't exist. It just exists with me sitting in classrooms and listening to people talk and trying to funnel all that information and figure things out. Nonetheless, I want this channel to be user-driven, so I want you guys to really write down in the comments and tell me what exactly it is you want from me and what it is you want to see. There's tons of content out there already, like I've already said, but I want to tailor whatever I produce to you. So if you want more videos about, the admission process, the acceptance process, monies and loans and things like that, study habits and tricks, the best way to get along and to find study groups and all things like that, just put it down below. Or even if you have miscellaneous questions that have, minimal things to do with PA, I mean, depending on how trivial they are, I'm inclined to answer them. So I should probably tell you guys a little bit more about me before you go away. So I had a brain fart there. Sorry. This is so weird, like seeing yourself. Anyway, I'm back on track. So I graduated from undergrad in 2019, and I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Biology. I was a relatively average student. I had about a 3.5 something GPA. I don't really remember the other digits behind it, for whatever it's worth. And I applied to the 2020 cycle immediately. So I applied probably a month or two before I was going to graduate undergrad. That's when the cycle opens in April-ish. So I applied to about 22 or 23 schools. It is not cheap, and there's a lot of caveats to applying to PA school. So if you guys have any questions about that, just let me know. Nonetheless, I applied to about 22 to 23 schools. Side note, I did not take the GRE. So that's to say, I know a lot of people have questions about, do you need to take the GRE? And it's honestly up to you. It depends on the type of school you want to go to. If the school is close to you, there's a lot of factors that go into the reasons why people pick certain PA schools. So if it is consistent with those reasons, sure, take it. But me personally, I couldn't find 1, 2, 3, or 5 reasons to take the GRE, so I just didn't take it. All of the schools I wanted to go to in my top school personally did not require the GRE, and I had no problem, getting interviews without it. So to move into that, I did apply to 22 or 23 schools. It definitely can get expensive, so if you guys can prepare ahead to save some money or whatever you can, I would encourage you to do that just because it adds up quickly. And there's a difference in fees. So you pay to apply to the school, but then you have to pay for supplemental fees, and some schools have multiple supplemental fees. And then even at that, once you get accepted, you have to pay for your seat in the program. So just keep those things in mind. Don't freak out about it, but just make sure you have it, you're planning accordingly. You're not like taking trips to Las Vegas and Mexico when you could be saving that. You shouldn't be in COVID anyway, but I digress. Nonetheless, I had about 5 or 6 interviews and ended up attending about 3 or 4. And I was accepted into one, and I was waitlisted by my top school. I was so sad too. It was like, I really thought that I nailed that interview, and it went great. But God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes you just got to take it on the chin. Right? So that was about that, how that went. And then I immediately started PA school in January 2020. So I had about a summer break, and then I immediately started grad school. And there's some pros and cons to that. I definitely had to uproot myself. I had to switch states to get into the school that I'm in. I had to get my own apartment. I had to get a car. I hadn't had a car yet because when I was an undergrad, the campus was accessible enough that I didn't need a vehicle. And then I was heavy on Uber and Zipcar and things like that back then. So it didn't really, cross my mind. And then, ironically, my beloved laptop, my HP 2-in-1, the little flip reverse that I had for all of undergrad, just decided to die. So I had to buy a new laptop, buy a car, and get an apartment in about 2.5 months while doing the requirements that my PA school asked me to do. So another side note caveat, once you get accepted, your school might ask you to complete prerequisite classes that have nothing to do with the classes that they asked you to complete for your application. Now, by that I mean everyone has so many classes they have to take, so many hours of patient care, and so many hours of PA shadowing that has to be done just for you to apply to the school, for the school to look at you. But then outside of that, once you get accepted, a lot of schools have you do work before you join. So my school had me do, what is that called? I know what it is. It's like on the tip of my tongue. Medical language. We're going to call it medical terminology. There we go. I had to take medical terminology and another course. And it was relatively light work, but it was tedious and it definitely took your time. I think there was over 100 certificates I had to complete and submit and upload by a certain amount of time. I had to take writing and grammar courses, all prerequisites for my school, of course. And then on top of that, on top of paying for my seat in the program, I also had to buy medical equipment, which was another $800, and my particular seat was $1,500, and all of these monies had to be paid prior to my matriculation date, like me actually stepping foot in the classroom. There were some other things I had to pay for as well, but in the grand scheme of things, those were definitely not up there. I bought a car that was around $10,000-ish. My rent is about 7 and some change. I'm getting very personal here, but I'm doing this just to give you guys an idea of how quickly these things can add up, and just not so that you don't face that initial shock that I faced. And so once that all that was done, I had my first week of classes, and in my first week of classes, we actually had a simulation module. So by that I mean we had a mock lecture. You had to study things, and then you had to take a test and see how much of it you retained. And so basically it was kind of showing you, are your study habits equipped for what's to come? And if you didn't score that well, it didn't mean anything for your grade. It just meant that you might want to try something else, try something new. Then I believe like the next week we got things rolling. So with that, my school's curriculum is modular based. So we study things by organ systems. So each semester is so many months long, between like 4 and 5, I believe. It's all hazy now. They all blend together after a while. And usually you have between 3 and 4 modules or organ systems to learn within those months. And so some of the modules can be 4 weeks, some of them can be 3 weeks, some of them can be 2 weeks. And usually you have an exam every 2 weeks. So if you have a 3-week module, you have 2 exams, one at the end of 2 weeks and then one at the end of the last week. I'm sure some of you are like, oh my God, please no, because that's exactly how I felt. And like I said, I don't say any of this to scare you. I'm literally just giving you guys a quick timeline of, events and how things worked or are working out. So most of you should already know that there's basically 2 phases to PA school. The first is didactic year, and then the second is clinical. And I'm approaching the end of my didactic year, so I'm in my second to last semester right now, and then I have one more, and then I will start my clinical rotations or clinical year. Some programs have longer months than other. Mine particularly is 28 months. Some programs are 24. I've even seen some that were 32. I believe one college I applied to in upstate New York was Damon College, and I think that they're like 32 or 34, one of those. And then I applied to some that were as short as like 24 months, and that might have been MCPHS. Fact check that. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, so that's just that. Let me see. I made a quick itinerary, whatever, you know what I mean, off to the side here. So basically, so that's kind of where I'm at now. You guys know that. And so the last 2 things that I really have on here, I kind of already have touched on, but the main thing I haven't is why PA. I think that there's a million reasons why PA, and that definitely could be another video if you guys are interested in that. But for the most part, why PA? Because I want to see more people who look like me in a field that we are so subject to. You can't avoid medicine, you can't avoid healthcare. And the best way to beat it is to join them, right? So I think diversity is more than just a word. I think it's more than just a body. I think diversity is a mindset. It's a mantra to some extent, and it should be a way of life for many. And I think that is definitely a hard concept to explain to others in the current climate of our America. But nonetheless, pebbles in the ocean still make waves. Even if they're not noticed the first time, even if they're not, super significant, the more rocks you throw, the more waves emerge, right? You guys get what I'm saying. So I could definitely flush that answer out and give you guys more detail and things like that if you ask for it in the near future, but I won't bog you down with this introductory video. We're already at almost 13 minutes. Like I said, my hope and goal for this channel is to expose you guys to anything you want to be exposed to. If it's study tips and how to get through certain body systems, if you're currently in a PA program and you're in my position, I can give you the tips and tricks that I have. Mnemonics. If you're pursuing PA school and you just don't even know where to start, we can do that. If you're interested in learning about finances and how to, battle through it, how the environment of PA school can be, the mental toll it can take, things like that. My goal here is just to add a resource, and I hope that it's helpful to you all. So again, this is going to be a very, very much a user-based channel, so I encourage you all to hop on into that comment box and tell me what you want to know. I'll try to group categories and make sure that I have thorough answers for you that are to the point, but enough for you to really get something from it. Things with substance. I'm a very open person, and I'm definitely not afraid to say, what's on my mind and things how they are, you can say. So don't hold back. Make it appropriate, of course, and make it relevant to the realm of PA, and I'll have no problem answering it. Yeah, so hopefully you guys stick around with me and we can make some magic in the future. Until next time, YouTube.